Welcome back. My name's Angie, and I am your soul alignment mentor and a intuitive medium who has been channeling spirit to bring messages on New Earth Ascension and how to live in alignment with your highest self. In this particular episode, I want to talk to you about some spiritual lingo that goes around. And the interesting thing is we hear these things, but what does it actually take to put them into practice and live them out? And today in particular, I want to talk about this saying, I do not chase, I attract. And the reason that this is coming up for me, and many times, if you really dig in and you spend time with a spiritual teacher or a teacher of any kind that kind of just comes with messages, some of the things are things that they have been learning themselves. And either they're expanding in their ability to understand this concept, or it's a brand new thing that they have been learning that Spirit is teaching them. And for years, I've been hearing this saying about, I do not chase, I attract. And as a person that kind of runs my own business and looks to work with people in the healing of alignment with their highest self and spiritual understanding and releasing some of the old energy of trauma that they've held in their body. This is something that I've heard quite a bit when I think about pulling in the energy of those who are ready to work with me. And so when I would say, I do not chase, I attract, it was this physical desire in me to try to not chase things and just allow them to come. But I didn't really comprehend what it meant to allow things to come to me. Because in our ego mind, we still have this idea that we have to do something in order for things to come towards us. And we do in some aspect. However, the way that we've been programmed in this society, especially in the Western world, is that we have to overextend ourselves, or we have to work really hard and long hours and prove ourselves in some aspect that we're good enough. Now, some of that is true. And I want to debunk what it means actually as far as living in alignment to be in this energy. So I have been personally on my own healing journey for many years. I began this strange experience of awakening back in 2016. And that is when I started to recognize things in my life that I had not healed from. I actually was working in the mental health field, and I had been for many years, and I continued to after my awakening, and I ended up spending about 18 and 19 years working in the mental health field. Yes, I'm old enough to have been in the field that long enough. However, what I noticed as I was going through my awakening and my ascension was that we were just touching the surface of people and what they needed to heal. And we weren't really getting to the core wounds of what was going on within them. And this is not a negative outlook of therapy or mental health services. We need them. They are important. However, there's a point where you begin to change in your energy and you ascend into a different frequency. And the things that once worked for you no longer work. And so you have to do things in a higher energy level. And if you understand energy at all, you will understand that when we are ascending, when we change a frequency, our consciousness rises and therefore we think in a different way. And so what is happening is the old system and the old way of doing things where we were doing talk therapy or just behavioral programming, retraining our behaviors, it doesn't really get to the core wound of what is happening that keeps us in cycles. And many times I noticed when I was working in the mental health field, we would work with somebody for a year or more and they would get better. And then within 6 months to a year, they would be back with the same problems. maybe a different situation or scenario or new people involved, but it always had a familiar energy about it because it was like a repeated cycle that people would stay in because they weren't dealing with the core wounds. And this expands even into the energy around us and the people we spend time with. Now, it is harder when this is your family because, especially as children or, parents, you can't just move away from hard negative energy, but you can learn how to protect your energy. And I have worked with many clients who begin to work on themselves and change their energy and release old programmings of that wounded energy they held within. And the interesting thing is, it would expand into the energy of the family, and they would begin to transform their lives also. So, by you doing the work, you're not just healing you, you're healing the energy around you. And that's something that we can't comprehend in the societal mental health field. So when we say the words, I attract and I do not chase, what does that mean? And how do we get into that energy? And this is how. One, you must work on your mindset. You must work on the way you think. And that is the first step. The second step is you need to work on your energy, clearing your energy, allowing your energy to flow more easily, and opening it up by releasing old beliefs and old traumas that are held within it. And the third thing is your heart chakra. Your heart chakra is the most important chakra. They're all important, but this is where our love energy is held, and this is the energy that we are made of. And so when we reconnect with our true self, which is in our heart, we connect back into love. And when we're back into the energy of love, this is where we begin to attract. If you're around somebody that is negative or complaining a lot or struggles with being able to maintain a mood or a behavior and this unpredictable, maybe we'd say that we're walking on eggshells around somebody, or somebody will lash out easily and they're easily triggered into anger, or maybe even sometimes it can be hard to be around people who are have very low self-esteem and self-worth. Like they're unable to see themselves in a positive aspect. And when we're in that energy, when we're around it and we have it in our body, it brings our frequency down, and therefore we're not able to be in a higher frequency, which is love. And when we're around love, when we're around a higher frequency, it is attracting. It is an attractive energy. People enjoy feeling happy. People enjoy feeling joy. And so part of that ascension into the energy of attracting is working on self first. When you love yourself, when you come into the energy of love within you, that is what reflects out. And that is the energy that attracts people to you, is the energy of love. And I hear this a lot with people that come to me. They will say to me, your energy is different. You feel different than what some other people feel. And it always humbles me to hear that. But it took me a minute to figure out why is it? Why do they feel that different energy with me? And I can feel it with certain people as well. And that's because I spent years and years and years working on my own energy, my own mind, and my heart. Because love is our biggest goal in this lifetime. As a human, our main purpose is to come back to the energy of love. But we also use all the other experiences, all the energy, all these low vibrations that we experience while we're on earth to teach us what love is. One of the things that I will teach with my clients that have gone through a hard loss, or maybe struggling with navigating relationships where there's an attachment struggle, where either you're anxious attachment or avoidant attachment, or combination of both. The reason that we chase things is because we're trying to fill something within our own self. The reason that we feel the need to find love outside of self is because we don't connect with the love we have in ourselves. But I want you to think about it this way. All of the energy and the effort that you put out towards something else or someone else to get them to love you or to feel good and as if you are loved and lovable, all of that energy is inside of you. That is your heart chakra's biggest desire, is to love. And because it's not aligned with your true and highest self in that energy, it will begin to chase after something to pull it back in, to help it fill itself back up. But the only way to truly do that is by doing it within. There's not anything outside, there's not a person, there's not a thing that will actually fill your heart. Your heart already has that expansive energy inside it. It already has everything it needs within it. You just have to remove the obstacles that you've brought on because of the ego's training that we've been through, or events that you've been through, or traumas, or negative experience that have clouded that energy to keep you in an energy of looking for something to bring it back into self. So when we experience grief, when we're feeling that disconnection from another human, or even if we're losing someone who has transitioned onto the other side, that grief is proof of how much love we have in our heart and our body, how much love our spirit is made of. Because if we didn't grieve, we wouldn't love. Grief is the one feeling that we have on earth that proves what love is. If you think about it, you don't grieve things that you do not love. There's deaths every day with people all around us. And we don't drop everything to go and spend time with these other people. And we don't drop everything and we don't feel this deep grief with those losses because we have not filled ourselves with that love energy in that relationship. And so when it's something or someone you love dearly, you feel a deep, deep pain because that pain is evidence of deep, deep love. And so we take that love energy, we take the deepness of that love, and we reflect it back into our own heart, and we come back within and we find it in ourselves. And then the grief part of it begins to calm a little bit. We will always have grief as a human because in many ways we are disconnected from ourselves. We are source God energy in a human body, separate from self. And so we're actually feeling the grief of being separated from self. Because when we're back in the energy of our spirit, when we're back in what we humans call heaven, we don't feel grief. There is only joy, love, and abundance within the spirit. And so as a human, we can use the emotion of grief to reconnect with love. And many times it is through grief that people grow and change the most because it brings you back to the energy of love. And you reflect that back out into the world much easier when you are in the energy of love. But we have to use it and we have to work with it for that, or we can become stuck in that lower vibration of what grief can cause for us. So even though it is a gift, we have to learn how to use the gift. And this is what it means to attract instead of chase. When we are in that highest vibration, when we have learned how to use that energy to pour first into ourselves and then to others, that's when you become radiant. That is when your energy shifts from scarcity and fear and chasing to attracting. So if you're in this place where you're like, I don't know how to do that, this is how. Begin by going within. That's through meditation. That's through energy healing. That's through renewing your mind. And reach out. to myself or another healer to help you with the process if you need to. I wish you all the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.